came out to visit us. They didn't paddle, I might have to say. They came in a stink boat. But not only did they come to visit us, but they had with them two other friends, one of whom was Lei, who is with us tonight also, and another lady, a Thai lady, wasn't I? Can't remember her name.
Amy, yeah.
Amy, that's right. And when I realised that Lei was from China, I started to explore the possibility of actually having Chinese conversation lessons with Lei, which we subsequently arranged, and when we got back to Cairns, and that started to happen. But after a couple of months, I think, Lei was getting busier and busier, and either because she really was busy or she just decided she had more than enough of listening to my bad Chinese, she said one weekend she actually couldn't make the time, but there was a newly arrived housemate who had said she would be willing to step in, and that housemate, of course, was Laurel. And I have to say that even I can very clearly remember that very first moment of being introduced to Laurel, and certainly a little sort of flutter in the heart, but anyway, a flutter of something. Peacefulness, but energy as well, and it was part of being with Laurel. And so later on, we sat in the car and we actually talked about different Chinese words for being happy and happiness, and then we drove back to Cairns. But that sense of a special place with that beautiful sunlight and trees and birds singing has actually never left for me. It's been part of what you have brought into my life, and it's been there ever since. And it's what part of it's, I suppose, of many treasures you've brought into my life. That is one of the loveliest and the longest last. It's as I say, it's been here forever. So I want to convey my gratitude for that. The next step, I guess, in our little saga was actually going to Guangzhou to meet Laurel's family. And as you can imagine, I was a bit apprehensive about this, thinking, what's Laurel's mum going to think about Laurel turning up with this foreigner who's not only a foreigner, but much older. And I have to say, I've just been so privileged and delighted that the generosity with which Hua has welcomed me into her family. And if I may, I just want to say a few words to Bao Hua. And later on, that was unfortunate on my part. And later on, when we were talking about these connections with Brian and Mitch and Lei, and Laurel introduced me to a very important Chinese concept of yuanfan. Yuanfan means really fated by destiny. It's a notion that these are connections and these are events that are just fated, and that's it. And so we feel a very strong yuanfan with Brian and Mitch and Lei, and so we started having Chinese conversation classes. And as Ingrid said earlier, we had this idea of going outside of Cairns itself, and so the first of these occasions we actually went up onto the Atherton tablelands to Lake Barine, which many of you will no doubt know about, and it was walking one afternoon around Lake Barine, and in that beautiful rainforest, and there was sunlight coming through the trees, and there were birds singing, and I just had this extraordinary sense of what a beautiful space I was in. But what was extraordinary was that the space was inside me as well as around me. I felt this wonderful sense of step, I guess, in our little saga, was actually going to Guangzhou to meet Laurel's family. And as you can imagine, I was a bit apprehensive about this, thinking, what's Laurel's mum going to think about Laurel turning up with this foreigner who's not only a foreigner, but much older. And I have to say, I've just been so privileged and delighted that the generosity with which Hua has welcomed me into her family. And if I may, I just want to say a few words to Bao Hua. Bao Hua, 当我和张霞到广州第一次 见你的时候，我不知道你是否接受我。你从一开始，非常欢迎我来到家，而且一直以来对我你非常关怀，我非常很感激，我会照顾好张家。
哇哦！
我爱你有多深？我爱你有几分？我的情，我的爱不变，月亮代表我的心，轻轻已经打动我的心，深深的情，叫我思念到不停。你问我爱你有多深，我爱你有几分？你去想一想，你去看一看，月亮。